Hello and welcome to Man Cave Media. On this channel I talk about beer, sneakers, tech, and toys. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. Also, please connect with me on social media. I'm on Instagram at media.mancave and on Facebook and Twitter at mancavemedia.org. And finally, if you enjoy listening to podcasts, please check out the League of Sedentary Gentlemen. We're available wherever you get your podcasts or direct from our website at man-cave-media.org. All right, I understand that I'm very late to the game with the Nintendo Switch OLED. And I wasn't really planning on doing an unboxing of this because I was so late to the game. There's a ton of unboxing videos out there. So, I mean, if you want to go ahead and click through the first part of this video, I won't blame you. But I decided that I would just go ahead and do it anyway, just because. Why not? This is going to be more of my story on how I obtained my Nintendo Switch OLED and my thoughts and opinions on it, my 2 cents basically, and kind of, my experience having owned the original Switch up until this point, what I think of the new Switch, and things of that nature. So anyhow, without further ado, let's go ahead and get this one out of the box. This is actually my second Nintendo Switch OLED. More on that in a bit. But let's go ahead and get this out of the box. You can tell by the tape, this came from Walmart. And like I said, more on that in a moment, but because of this whole situation, Walmart's not really my favorite place in the world right now. Not really my favorite place to begin with, but more so because of what's going on here. So anyhow, let's go ahead and dive in. I really love the redesign of the box. By the way, those of you who own the original Switch, you know what I'm talking about. If you have not owned the original Switch, I'm sure you've seen pictures of the box, so you know it's different. So right out of the gate, and I noticed this when I opened up my first unit, you can tell immediately without even turning it on that it has a larger screen with thinner bezels, and that is of course because of the OLED display. Let's go ahead and be very careful with this guy. Out. So there's the unit itself. That redesigned kickstand. It's kind of hard to do that with one hand, which is a good thing. There we go. That redesigned kickstand is, besides the screen, the redesigned kickstand is really the star of the show in my opinion. And then I got the white version of the Joy-Cons because I'm fancy like that. My original Switch, I got the red and blue Joy-Cons, and so when they only offered the red and blue Joy-Cons with the OLED or the white Joy-Cons, I figured I wanted to try something different, so I got the white ones. Also, I really like the way the dock looks in white. Alright, moving along, we have the very good quality Nintendo HDMI cable, which they give you the same cable with the NES and SNES Classics. And it's a really, really good quality cable. So kudos to Nintendo for including that. The all-important approved Nintendo Switch charging device. Kind of silly that they were having problems with that with the original Switch with third-party suppliers. And then we have the grip for the Joy-Cons. I'm not sure if they've changed anything about this from the original. It looks pretty similar to me, so I'm not too sure about that one. And then we have the dock. So this was the second reason why I chose the white one, because I really like the way this dock looks in white, and it matches my Xbox. So thought it was pretty nice. The redesigned Nintendo Switch dock. I'll get close-ups of all this stuff, obviously, but The biggest feature of the redesigned dock is the included LAN port. Biggest feature. They downgraded the hinge on this thing, in my opinion. The original dock has a much better hinge, but they did enlarge this cutout for the cable management. And most importantly, which was a complaint from me and a few people that I know, is this dock is much smoother when you insert the console into the top. A lot smoother. It feels way less barbaric than the original, so that's a plus. All right, so let me go ahead and police this. I'm actually going to put all this stuff away. Actually, no, I lied. I'm gonna leave it out because I'm gonna get close-ups of all of these things. But this Switch is currently listed for sale on eBay. And again, I will get into that story right now. So I don't need the actual console out. So let's get this guy put away. Actually, you know what? I have the other dock out already. It's right behind me, so I don't need it. I'm gonna put everything away right now the way it was, because I don't want to risk anything happening to this guy. As I said, it is currently listed for sale on eBay. So better safe than sorry. Go ahead and put all this stuff back away. So those of you viewing, let's play a little game. If you can guess what my, hold on a second. Time out. Something's missing here. Why? What was that? Oh, you know what was that? Was the dock wrapped in bubble wrap as well? Yeah, it must have been. Whoopsie daisy. So what I was gonna say right now, let's play a fun game for those of you viewing. Some of the long-term viewers and maybe people who know me in real life might already know the answer to this, so you might get an advantage. But if you can figure out my eBay screen name and track down my listing, if you happen to win the bid, send me an email or communication rather through eBay and comment, "I saw you unbox this, I want a discount." And I will refund a portion of your payment, undisclosed amount, through PayPal. So let's get the unit that I'm actually going to keep, and we'll talk about that one. Stop this guy. All right. So I've been playing with this for about a week now. I love it, by the way. That's going to give you any indication of my opinion. One thing that was annoying is you could see me struggling to get it out of this case. This is the case for my original Switch, and the dimensions for the Switch OLED are just a hair bigger than the original. Let me clean this screen really quick. They're just a hair bigger than the original, but it's just enough where your old accessories are going to be a little snug. So if you can, I would recommend getting a new case that's specifically designed for the OLED. I don't like the one that they released alongside the OLED because there's no spot, at least correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's a spot to put any games inside that case, and I like to carry my games with me. So for that reason, I don't like that. You know what? I'm gonna go grab the original console really quick. Stand by. Well, it'll just be an instant second for you guys. All right. Like I said, it would just be a quick second for you. I want you guys to see the difference between these two screens. Now, the camera doesn't really do it justice on how beautifully crisp the OLED screen is compared to the old compared to the old screen on the Switch. But you can see the size difference. I mean, it is obvious right off the bat. Let me wake this guy up. Wakey, wakey. Same with you, sir. All right. So, I mean, difference in screen size. Again, I'll get close-ups of all this stuff, but you can see the difference in the screen size there. Trying to fix the glare from my lights. There we go. So, like I said, the camera doesn't really do justice on just how beautiful the screen on this thing is. I mean, it is fantastic. So the obvious things like the screen aside, the other thing that I really like about the redesign is this kickstand. I mean, if you don't have the original Switch, I'll show you a difference of the kickstand. This kickstand, very sturdy. It's the entire length of the system. And it's adjustable. You can adjust it to different levels. It's so freaking awesome, dude. I can't stress enough how better of a design this kickstand is compared to the old one, which is just this little piece of plastic that sounds like you're breaking it every time you open it. I swear, I cringe every time. That noise, that plastic on plastic kind of like, oh man. And then of course, like, no adjustment whatsoever. That's it. That's how it sits. Live with it. If you don't like it, oh well. So yeah, much better design on the kickstand. So those two things are by far and away the biggest improvements for me personally. And the third one that is a really big improvement, but not noticeable, especially for people like me, is the addition of the LAN port on the dock. And what that does is, when you're playing multiplayer games online, it just improves the connection greatly. And that's something that I don't do a lot, so it's kind of lost on me a little bit. It does help when I'm downloading games from the store. If I do it in docked mode now with that LAN port, it's much faster than over my Wi-Fi, and my Wi-Fi is pretty good. So, but with that LAN port, yeah, it makes a huge difference. Other than that, here comes my opinion. Like, if you're wondering if you should buy the Switch OLED or if you should just buy the original Switch, if you are a first-time Switch buyer, I think $50 over the original price of the Switch is more than worth it for the screen alone. The kickstand and the LAN port on the dock are just bonus at that point. The $50 is worth it just for the screen alone. Now, if you're going to play it primarily in docked mode, which is another thing that I do, and I'll explain in a moment why I still bought an OLED even though I play mostly in docked mode. If you play mostly in docked mode, then it becomes a harder choice, because at that point, the only upgrade you're getting really is the LAN port. Of course, all the hardware on the inside of the Switch is the same as the original Switch, so yeah, it becomes a much tougher choice. Me personally, I decided to buy an OLED Switch because I wanted to give my original Switch to my kids. They're at that age now where they're playing video games, and when we go on vacation, you know, they're playing their games on their iPad, but they want to play Zelda and they want to play Mario Kart, and you know, Daddy's hogging the Switch. And so I wanted to give them my old Switch, and I wanted the OLED. And when we do go on vacation, I do play a lot of handheld mode. I do play a lot in handheld mode, rather. That came out wrong. And so, of course, I'm happy to have the OLED screen. But that was my reason. And if you already own a Switch and you're wondering if you should buy the OLED, if you play a lot in handheld mode, then I say yes. I think you should. GameStop, I know, is offering $200 for the original console, which is, I mean, at that point, the OLED's only going to cost you $180, depending on where you live, depending on your tax bracket. My first, the first one, I'll get into the story in a moment. My first one was $388 with tax. I'm sorry, my first one was 376, I think, and some change with tax. My second one was 388 with tax. And it's because they came from two different counties. And I'll explain that in a bit. But at that point, if you're able to get that trade-in deal from GameStop, then the new one's only costing you about $180. You can't beat that. Again, the upgrade for the screen alone is worth it if you're an original Switch owner. But if you're an original Switch owner and you play mostly docked, you never ever take it out of the dock, then I think you should just wait, because there's still rumors flying around that there's going to be a Switch Pro. I don't know how real that is. You know, Nintendo's really cloak and dagger with their stuff. You never know what's going to happen until they release it. But there are rumors still floating around that there's going to be a Switch Pro. So I would just stick it out. The original Switch is still fine when you play in dock mode. You're not going to notice any difference with the OLED. Of course, the dock will be a different color. Well, unless you get the red and blue one, then it won't be a different color, but you'll have that LAN port, of course. So that's just my opinion. I think you should just stick if you play mostly in dock mode. So that being said, let me get into the story of how I obtained two Switch OLEDs. This was not planned at all. For those of you who watch my channel for other content like sneakers, you should know I'm very anti-scalper. It's not cool, man. I don't like people who do it. It was not my intention whatsoever to make any money off of this console. What happened was, way back in July when pre-orders had opened, everybody I'm sure who wanted the console, you remember what a shit show that was, trying to pre-order one of these Switch OLEDs. And first try, I was not able to succeed. And then I was just watching TV, browsing through the internet, and I noticed some restock availability on Walmart's website for pre-order. And I'm like, oh, great. I'm going to go try. So it let me add it to cart. It was scaringly too easy. I was a little bit concerned about it even immediately after I placed the order. I added it to cart, no problem, very smooth, checked out. I even had to sign into my PayPal account because I was using a device I don't normally use. I thought for sure it was gonna come back as your card is empty, there was an error, whatever. Nope, everything went fine, it was smooth, got the pre-order in. Perfect, right? The official release date for the Nintendo Switch was, of course, October 8th. October 8th came and went, and nothing. Not even so much as an email from Walmart saying, oh, we're sorry, it's running late, we're not gonna be able to fulfill the order. Nothing at all. I logged into the order page, and where you can check the status of your order, and it still said preparing. No mention of a ship date or anything like that, and I was getting very discouraged. I thought for sure that it wasn't gonna happen, and for about a week I just kept checking it, and finally it updated, and I got a estimated arrival, or an estimated estimated delivery date of October 18th. But still no tracking number, still no shipping confirmation, nothing, just, hey, you're gonna get this on the 18th. Okay, no problem. So fast forward to Friday, I believe it was the 15th of October. Let me verify that. Yes. So they say I'm gonna get the console on the 18th, which is a Monday. Here it is, Friday the 15th. Still no tracking number, still no change in my order, still no confirmation, nothing. Just, it still was stuck on preparing. And I'm like, man, what are the odds that, they're gonna ship this thing out Friday afternoon or Friday evening or even Saturday, and it's still gonna get here by Monday? I think they're just stringing me along. It's not gonna happen. All these, I have really bad anxiety. All these things are going through my head. Like, I'm not gonna get it. And so that day on Friday, my boss sent me on an errand to go pick up some TVs from Best Buy. And while I was there, the guy who came and brought the TVs out to my truck, he's, a pretty cool guy, younger guy. And, we're just talking back and forth, small talk. And as we were finishing up, he's like, is there anything else I can help you with? And I thought I didn't have a chance in hell, but just for fun, I asked him, I'm like, would you happen to have any Switch OLEDs in stock? And he paused and he looked and I'm like, what? And he's like, somebody returned 3 of them today. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, can you sell them? And he's like, yeah. It's limit 1 per customer. I can sell you 1. Do you want it? I'm like, yeah. Hell yes. You go get it. And so he's like, all right, I'll go to the back. I'll grab it. Meet me at customer service and I'll ring you up. I'm like, yes. I'll be right there. Locked up the truck, closed the bed cover because I had TVs in there. Right? I should have asked him right away. So before we loaded up the TVs, but locked up my truck, grabbed my mask. I ran in the store. I heard him, like, as I was standing at the customer service counter, I heard him ask his manager, hey, is it all right if we sell these? And my butthole puckered for a moment, man. And he's like, the manager was like, yeah, go ahead. We can sell those. And, yes, score. He rang me up. I checked out. Beautiful. I even went back to work and told one of my coworkers who wanted one, and he ran over, he drove over to Best Buy hurriedly, and he was able to get one. And he actually got the last one. So after I left, somebody came and bought another one because he said he had 3. And my coworker got the last one. And so awesome, right? Fast forward to Sunday of all days. I get an email from Walmart. Your order has shipped. It will arrive tomorrow, the 18th, like they said. Well, all my anxiety for nothing, all those fears for nothing. It came. Now I have 2. Oh well, it is what it is. I listed it on eBay. Part of me was tempted to just take my original Switch to GameStop and let them give me the $200 for it and keep both Switch OLEDs, but that wouldn't be very financially responsible of me. There's a lot of money in consoles I got sitting right here, so I went ahead and listed the other one on eBay, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that was my story. Walmart, you suck. At least give me a discount because you couldn't give it to me on release day. At least give me an email, letting me know what's going on. Don't just let me sit there and stew in my own thoughts. It's not cool, man. You're not my favorite store to begin with, so you're not winning any points with me. It will be a while before I use Walmart for any pre-orders again. That was just a bad experience. And shouts to that Best Buy employee, man. You saved the day. That was the best errand my boss had ever sent me on right there. So yeah, that was interesting. Nothing like that has ever happened before. I've asked for, I was interested in a moment for the Xbox Series X. Before I decided I was just gonna wait. And for the PlayStation, obviously I was slightly interested in. My PlayStation 4 is really not that old. But just, for a moment, the hype got the better of me and I asked about it and they didn't have any in stock. But, nothing like that's ever happened before. Yes, of course we have 3. I'm like, what are the odds, right? So somebody returned 3. And right away when I got it back to work, the first thing I did was I plugged it in and turned it on and downloaded a game so I can test it because I'm like, why'd they return it? And the only thing I could think of is they had to do what I'm doing now. Like maybe they're a YouTuber or they do some kind of review blog or whatever, and they just wanted to review the thing. And they did their thing and they were done with it, and they weren't really trying to make any money off of anybody, so they just returned it to the store. That's the only thing I could think of. Or maybe somebody living beyond their means, they tried to buy one and it turns out that they couldn't afford it, so they had to return it. Who knows? But yeah, that was very much my lucky day. And that's my story of how I got 2 Switch OLEDs. All right, let's get some B-roll shots and some close-ups, and I will do a side-by-side comparison with my good lens of the original Switch and the new OLED. All right, that's all I have for this one. Thank you again for stopping by. Please smash that like button if you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great evening, and like always, thank you for watching.